iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have the 802 BG Graphix Late Model Series here at the South Boston Motor Speedway. Tonight we'll see these drivers take on this track for 50 laps in the main event. Of course, the normal order for these drivers with these late model stocks. We got qualifying here in just a few seconds. Then we'll head over to heat races, top 4 inverted. And then we head over to the top 12 invert for our 50-lap main event here at the South Boston Motor Speedway. As we get drivers rolling out on the track, I believe the first car heading out there trackside is the number 30 machine, that being piloted by Larry Murphy. Off of turn number 4, the 30 car is on the clock here at South Boston. Murphy coming in with some good amount of confidence. We got to talk to him in the pre-race, and he says hasn't had the luck. Really want to see this car get the finish that he knows that it can have. As Larry Murphy lap number 1 in the books, he will put down a 15.48. Ty Delphi right now, quick time with a 2.6. That is a good lap from the 99 machine. We'll see, or Delphi, excuse me. I knew I'd get it wrong once. As Larry Murphy does wrap up qualifying, not the result he wanted, with a 15.48. We got more cars out on the track. It looks like we'll keep an eye on this guy. This guy has been very hot here recently. It is Steven Rockford, our current points leader. Jake Grout goes quick time with a 21. Rockford slots in to second quick with a 26. We'll see if Rockford can improve here on lap number 2 here at South Boston. Very low in 3 and 4 there below the yellow line. We'll see if that's enough. It will not be. Rockford P number 2 here at the moment, as we now look at the 6th machine. That is Johnny Barker on the clock here. Barker lap number 1, good lap by him, a 15.28. We'll see if he can improve here for lap number 2. And then we have a car rolling out on the speedway. First time with this series this season. It's a 45 machine. I got to race with him a little bit. We'll see what he can do as Barker does not improve. Now we look at the 45 machine. Bondoed on up, got the duct tape out, but he's out here racing. It's a 45 machine of Casey Bietti. Bietti here on lap number 1 goes quick time with a 15.19. And he says, that's enough for me. He'll pull a pit side and go quick time here tonight at South Boston Motor Speedway for race number 5 of the 802 BG Graphix Late Model Series. As Bietti, first time here, goes quick time, and that is impressive. He'll be the car to beat, but it won't be an easy road ahead as he has to deal with 2 inverts here tonight from the heat races to those feature events. A little bit of fun facts about South Boston Motor Speedway. It actually opened up as a quarter-mile dirt track here in the Virginia area. Then in 1962 converted to the classic 3/8 mile asphalt oval. And actually this year in 2023, they are celebrating 40 years of their premier series. That, of course, being the late model stock cars, which we are racing here tonight on the virtual South Boston Speedway. They are celebrating 40 years of that being their featured racing division at the track. So pretty cool stuff there, and glad we can bring that over to the virtual side of things as we take a look here at some race information here tonight at the 3/8 mile South Boston, or the classic Sobo Speedway. Looking like a nice, pretty hot day, 78 degrees here in Virginia, only 2-mile-per-hour wind. And of course, you can find out more information about this league at the 802 iRacing page on their Facebook. And of course, we got to thank all those series broadcasts making the series possible. Of course, title sponsor BG Graphix coming on board out of the Woods Crafts for that biggest mover of the race, the Riptide Radio Award, given out to the $5 credits to someone outside of the top 5. And then, of course, the post-race interviews and presentation being presented by the Sim Racing Podcast with Greg Driass. As we get stuff ready to rock and roll for our first heat race here, we will have 2 heat races here tonight. The first one will have our quick time Casey Bietti in the 45 machine starting in 4th, and I believe Jake Grout will be our 4th place starter in heat race number 2. As we are rolling through the series, folks, we are on already race number 5 of, I believe, the 10 or 12 week, I believe 10 week schedule. As of course next week these guys heading back south, heading to the Florida area for the New Smyrna Speedway. You can find that May 11th on that Thursday, same time, same place on the Turn 3 Racing Network, as we now head down to Frontside to go through tonight's starting order for heat race number 1. Brandon Guerin in the number 4 will start on the pole leading the field to green. Johnny Barker in the 6th machine will start outside front row. Row number 2 being made up of Stephen Rockford in that 66th machine. And Casey Bietti with the quick time will start 4th. Starting in the 5th position is Scott Rockford in the 77. And Larry Murphy in the 30 starting in 6th. And rounding out the field for heat race number 1 here tonight is Jeff Barefoot in the number 9 machine. As this field ready to rock and roll here at the South Boston Motor Speedway. As you can tell, folks, the fans showed up here tonight. The stands absolutely packed. Everyone, only standing room here tonight here for our first heat race of the night. Of course, these being 10-lap heat races, and then of course the main 50-lapper when it's all set to go. As we get ready to rock and roll for heat race number 1. Brandon Guerin in the 4 machine will be leading us to green. iRacing pace car heads off of pit road, and Guerin waiting to jump on the loud pedal. He does that now. We go green flag racing here for heat race number 1. These drivers dueling here for 10 laps as they go side by side down the backstretch. These drivers right on top of each other for the race lead. Barker trying to get some momentum up top, and almost contact there between him and Rockford. Rockford trying to fill that gap on the inside lane, not let Barker move up and contact one car hard in the outside wall. That is Scott Rockford. And once again, for another week in a row, we stay green with the contact. So no yellow flag, we stay racing, as now Casey Bietti gets around Johnny Barker for that 3rd position. So top 3 looking like Guerin, Rockford, and Bietti right now all on top of each other here with 7 laps to go in this heat race. As you can see, folks, these guys right on top of each other. Rockford, contact now to the race leader. He'll go around in front of the field. They will pile up behind, and oh man, big hit for some drivers later on in that. That was a big one here in heat race number 1, and that started all the way up at the front with contact to the back bumper of the 4 from the 66, as we now head back to our replay here and see what happened to this yellow flag. And you can see the contact between Rockford and the number 4 machine. Guerin then goes on around. Casey Beatty just trying to avoid. They get bottled up with Barker. Jeff Barefoot somehow slips through, and Larry Murphy just coming in late with the RKO, not able to get on the brakes, and around they go in front of the field. And that was everyone currently out on the track involved in that one, folks. So that is a big one here for heat race number 1 of the night. I know Brandon Guerin probably not happy with that one, leading this heat race and then gets punted out of the way there. Rockford just trying to roll that middle, and we saw it in qualifying. He's one of the lowest cars through 3 and 4, and he's somehow carrying the speed, and just a little bit too much speed that time, and got in the back bumper of that number 4 machine. So under yellow flag here for the first time here tonight. Here, this is heat race number 1 of the night. Contact between the 66 and the 4. It looks like Stephen Rockford does tap on his roof that time by the flag stand. So he will go to the back of this field, and that actually hands over the race lead to the number 9 Riptide Radio machine of Jeff Barefoot. Barefoot in the 9 will be leading us to green here on this restart. Brandon Guerin does hang on to 2nd, even with that spin. Casey Beatty 3rd. Larry Murphy up to 4th here on this restart here, as the lights do get extinguished around the South Boston Motor Speedway. And we get ready to go back. Green flag race in action. Jeff Barefoot on the 9 machine, leading us to green. Off of turn number 4, the iRacing pace car heads down pit road, and Jeff Barefoot with the loud foot. He's on the throttle. We go back. Green flag race in action here right at the end of the session. It is the white flag lap. They're going for the lead as Larry Murphy gets in the back. Big wreck down the backstretch. It is everyone involved in this one. Cars up on their side, but off of turn number 4, Jeff Barefoot picks up heat number 1 win, as there is calamity all around the track for the rest of the position. Looks like Stephen Rockford picks up 2nd and Johnny Barker in 3rd, but one more time, we got to take a look at that wreck here if we can, as that started with contact between the 30 and the 4 off of turn number 2, excuse me, here, and just ever so slight contact, as we do lose that as we go over to our next session, as we go try and go live here in heat race number 2. We head over to now, as we head down for the starting order for heat race number 2. Jason Wiley in the SRT 13 machine will start on the pole. Rob Lowell in the 21 G-Stone machine starting outside pole. Row number 2, Ty Delphia in the 99 machine will start 3rd, with Jake Grau in the 49 starting in 4th. David Lomaga in the 28 will start 5th, and rounding out heat race number 2 is the 46 machine of Eli Raposa. And that will do it here. Next time by, these drivers getting the 1 to go signal, so they're getting ready to rock and roll here for heat race number 2. Heat number 1 ending with a huge wreck involving all but one car, that being Jeff Barefoot, ending up winning heat race number 1. And then everyone else just trying to survive with that. We'll see how heat race number 2 can go, as the field will head through turns number 3 and 4. And the iRacing pace truck will make the hard left-hand turn down pit road. And Jason Wiley waiting to jump on the loud pedal. Contact here already though. Rob Lowe gets jacked up on the start. He will spin off the nose of Jake Grout, and that will bring out the yellow. As I think everyone was very antsy to get rocking and rolling there. I don't think Grout expected Wiley to wait that long and then just jacked him on up on the start, and that will definitely do it as we ride rooftop with Jake Grout and just see what happened. As I believe Grout just tried to expect the start a little bit sooner, just jacks up Rob Lowe, and Lowe having no control of that car once those rear tires go up on top of that there. So we try and head back to live here. As we get everything rock and roll, but another yellow here for, well, our first yellow for heat race number 2 here, as we get everything sorted on out. But Jason Wiley leading the field at the moment. Ty Delphia in second. Eli Raposa in third at the moment. But a quick yellow here for heat race number 2 right at the start. That being between the 49 and 21. So we'll see how these guys get sorted on out here. As for some more track facts here from South Boston Motor Speedway, last year they threw down the dirt. So like I said in the pre-race, this track originally dirt. In 2022, they re-threw down the dirt and had the host some 410 sprint cars for the first time ever on the surface. And of course, they having the SRX racing experience come to South Boston here and be broadcasted last year. So some cool stuff by that as we try and get the lineup all sorted out under this yellow. Of course, weird things happening on these restarts after the yellow coming out when it did, as we'll, I think, get everything lined up here by now. As maybe not, we go green flag racing here at South Boston, as the 46 machine is leading the way. Raposa out there in front here with 3 laps to go. Some 2 very interesting heat races here tonight at South Boston. Hopefully the feature event isn't as strange, but Raposa out there leading the way in the number 45 dirtbag machine. Rob Lowell in second here, and Jake Grout trying to give chase. Popsicle sticks up in the air here for heat race number 2 on the night. The 46 machine out there by himself at the moment. Wiley falls back to third. Delphia in fifth, as we see the white flag here for heat race number 2. Raposa leading the way. He has to make it down now a half a track, now just through the final corner. So 2 first-time heat winners here tonight. Jeff Barefoot in heat race number 1. Eli Raposa here in heat race number 2, picking up the win. As that will do it for our heat race action here tonight, as we now head over to our main event, the 50-lap feature, coming on up here in just 1 second, folks. As we get ready now to head over to our starting order here tonight for our South Boston 50-lap main event. Of course, this series being brought to you by BG Racing Graphics. If you need a sweet sim wrap, be sure to check them on out. We got a shout out of the Woods Crafts for the biggest mover, Riptide Radio. You can find that on the number 9 machine of Jeff Barefoot, who parked that car down in Victory Lane and of course the Sim Racing Podcast with Greg Driass. Now we head down here for our starting order. Leading the field to green will be the 28 DTL Customs machine. It is David Lomaga. Starting to his outside is the 4 of Brandon Guerin. Starting in third is Ty Delphia in the 99. Larry Murphy in the 30 will roll off fourth. Fifth will be Jason Wiley in the 13. Sixth going to Casey Bietti in the 45. Seventh, Jake Grout in the 49. Johnny Barker in the 6, starting in 8th. 9th, Rob Lowell in the 21. Stephen Rockford in the 66, starting in 10th. 11th is Eli Raposa in the 46, with 12th going to Jeff Barefoot. Starting in 13th is Scott Rockford. And it's everyone's favorite time, folks. Get up on your feet. Give these drivers a wave. It is the wave lap here. Next time by, these drivers getting ready to do battle here for 50 laps here at the South Boston Motor Speedway. And if heat races are indication, these cars not going to look the same here by the end of these 50 laps as these drivers getting ready to do battle here. Lomaga leading us to green, Guerin to his outside. Off of turn number 4, the field will come. David Lomaga waiting to jump on the loud pedal. He does so. We go green flag racing, and an awesome start by Brandon Guerin on that top side. He'll roll right around the 28 like he's standing still and take over the race lead. Now Larry Murphy will do the same and try and roll the outside of the 28 machine as side by side further on back as Bietti tries to stick a nose high. He gets the door shut on him as we go under yellow flag here on the speedway. And it looks like the 49 machine of Jake Grout facing the wrong direction. We'll take a look to see what brought out our first yellow flag here in the feature event. He has a 13 Mopar machine of Jason Wiley below him. And just off of turn number 4, contact between Wiley and Grout. And Grout making pretty significant contact to that inside wall with that right side of that car. So not sure if Wiley maybe misjudged that gap or if Jake Grout just wasn't quite clear as he thought. It looks like Wiley just moved up that track a little bit more than what he thought Grout would. Grout definitely holding his line as that will bring out our first yellow here tonight for tonight's main event here at Sobo Speedway. Brandon Guerin having his teammate Larry Murphy in second. These two had a great start of that. David Lomaga still hanging on to third. Casey Bietti up to fourth, and Ty Delphia hanging on to fifth. As it looks like Guerin will elect this outside lane, so that will move the 30 machine of Larry Murphy to this inside line here for this first restart of the night. Brandon Guerin, our race leader, he can fire off whenever he wants. He fires off early on that top lane. We go back green flag racing action here at South Boston Motor Speedway. As Guerin leads away now, Casey Bietti to the outside of Larry Murphy. Bietti now slides into the second position. Larry Murphy falls back to third, and Bietti looking for the race lead off of turn number 4. He has his nose to the inside of Guerin. Side-by-side battle here for the race lead. Bietti down low, Guerin up top. Guerin tries to close the door, but Bietti keeps his nose in there. They're side-by-side once again off of turn number 4 in contact for the race lead. They door slam off of turn number 4, but that will give the race lead to the 45 machine. Casey Bietti, quick time, and now out in front here on lap 5. He's going to try and not look back and try and set sail out in front. Brandon Guerin holding on to second. Larry Murphy hanging on to third. David Lomaga into the back of the 30 machine. He will go around on the speedway. They will all check up here, and Larry Murphy spun out off of turn number 2, and his frustrations definitely have to be continuing in that number 30 machine. He had a tough race last week at Thompson, and looks like these luck not turning around from Larry Murphy as he just gets a shot right when getting onto the throttle. and gets a good piece of those pit barrels down off of turn number 2, as that is definitely a tough break for those cars involved, as we'll try and maybe see on board with Lomagan. You can see just slight contact. Maybe Larry Murphy had to wait a second for the Ford machine, had to check up, and Lomagan not realizing it, getting into the back of him, and that will bring out our second yellow of the night here for heat race number 2. Lomaga having some pretty good left side damage, especially on that left rear, as the whole field started to check up behind him as they saw some smoke off of turn number 2. As we get ready to head back to green flag racing action, I believe we'll get the 1 to go signal this time by Casey Bietti, leading the field to green here. Brandon Guerin up to second. Lomaga in third. Johnny Barker in fourth. As the field stacks on up, we get ready to go back. Green flag racing action. Bietti right against the wall. He's going to wait to jump on it here. He jumps on it early, get that run down the front stretch, and we go back. Green flag racing here at South Boston. Bietti with an awesome star up top, wasting no time to jump on that loud pedal. Guerin hangs on to second. Johnny Barker up into the third position here at the moment. He's able to get around that 28 machine, who I believe is a little off the pace with that damage. So Lomaga just trying to hold on to what he can, as Stephen Rockford up in the top 5 here at the moment. As we look a little bit further back, Wiley and Raposa and Rob Lowe all in a battle here. You can throw a blanket under these 3 cars here at the moment. Raposa falling in the wrong direction here. Started, I want to say, around the 7th position on that restart. Now back up into 9th at the moment, as Jake Kraut does get around him in that 49 machine. Kraut not having the week he wanted to last week, hoping for a rebound. And right now not looking that case, but still a long way to go in this race, as Delphia tries to get around Raposa here for that 10th position. Delphia was on pit road with that 99 machine trying to get some damage repaired. You can see the right rear pretty damaged on that car, but they stay side by side here at the moment as we jump on board with that 99 machine as he continues that side by side battle with the 46 to his outside. As it looks like he's able to get on by him, so he will go on around. As we take a look here further up front, Brandon Guerin under heavy pressure. That number 6 machine of Johnny Barker all over the back bumper. As we take a look back here, and you can see how close it is. Barker gives him a shot there as they make contact for that second position. Guerin moves up the racetrack, and Johnny Barker will now head down low. So side by side battle here for P number 2 at the South Boston Motor Speedway. Stephen Rockford behind him, just trying to bide his time, trying to figure out what lane he wants to choose. Looks like right now more committed to that bottom lane, but if Guerin gets a good run, he might try and move up. As further on back, they kind of get single filed on out with Rob Lowell now up into the top 5 in that 21 G-Stone machine. So now Rockford to the inside of Brandon Guerin. This is now the battle for third on the speedway here as we complete lap number 17 and head to number 18. Side by side still, these guys not losing much time at all to each other as Rockford continues to just inch ahead as we get a yellow flag on the speedway here for the third time this feature. We try and figure out what happened. Is I believe the 77 machine may have been involved there, as we'll take a look and see what happened as contact between the 77 and the 30. That sends Larry Rockford on around, and it looked like maybe two guys going for the same spot. We'll watch a little bit further back and see if we can make a better judgment call here for the third yellow here tonight. Larry Murphy trying to roll that inside lane. Does have a nose down the straightaway, but Rockford has the run. And then I think just tries to shut the door on Larry Murphy, and Murphy sends it on in there to try and keep the position, and they just meet on that inside lane there. As we head under our yellow flag here for the third time here tonight at the South Boston Motor Speedway. We are on lap now 20 of our scheduled 50 distance. As the top five looking like the following: Casey Bietti leading the field, Johnny Barker in this Valvoline number 6 machine in second, Brandon Guerin up into third, Stephen Rockford fourth, and Rob Lowell rounding out the top five here as we are just before the halfway point in tonight's feature event. As we give some time for these drivers on pit road to repair some damage. Two cars that were down there were the 28 of Lomaga and the other being the number 30 of Larry Murphy. As these drivers get ready to rock and roll here, this time by at the start finish line, these drivers should see the one to go signal here and get ready to go back. Green flag racing action here at the South Boston Motor Speedway. So Bietti will lead the field once again back to the green flag. We'll see what kind of restart Johnny Barker can get on the high lane. Bietti this time taking the inside line, so we'll see what kind of restart the 45 machine can get down low. Off of turn number 4, the field will come and will actually delay here a lap, so this time by they should get the one to go, as once again the lights get put on out around the speedway. As these drivers get antsy to go back, green flag racing action. Bietti wasting no time to get on that loud pedal. He gets away with a great start out in front as Bietti shoots out of there like a cannon. He already has a half a second lead over now Brandon Guerin, who slots into the second position. Further on back, side by side, Rockford and Lowell go door to door here off of turn number 4. Lowell keeping that 66 machine as high as he can. Rockford trying to get back that 4th position. They're both driving the wheels off of these late model stocks here tonight. As more contact off of turn number 4, that time the 21 machine of Rob Lowell hard into the inside wall, and that will bring out the yellow flag here for the 4th time in that 21 machine. Big time damage to that car. You see that thing smoking. As we take a look here at the replay and try and figure out what happened. Definitely contact between him and the 66, but off of turn number 4, we'll see the contact here, and that is tough to tell. Did the 21 machine expect the 66 to move up more? Did the 66 expect the 21 to leave him more room? Once again, just like our third yellow, you know, two guys almost racing for that same line here tonight at the South Boston Motor Speedway. A tough one to call, as Rob Lowell does get that car repaired and bring it back out on the speedway. So all of a sudden now Jake Grout in that number 49 J&S Auto Sales and Services machine is up back into the top 5. He will be restarting in that 5th position here on this 4th restart of tonight. As now the field getting the 1 to go signal here, folks. We'll be going back green flag racing here next time by as we almost approach the halfway point in tonight's race. As through turns number 3 and 4, the field will come. Casey Bietti leading us to green. He will wait a little bit longer, but jumps on the loud pedal here. Brandon Guerin gets a good start in that outside lane. He'll be able to hold on to second as everyone else side by side. These two are battling for the lead in points. Rockford has a pretty hefty points lead in the points, but Johnny Barker jumps up to second. Now that Logan Powers has not made the last 2 races, so Barker up into second in points, Rockford leading the points, and these guys side by side on the speedway for a minute as now Rockford heads into the P number 3 here at the moment. And Delphia trying to get back up through this field even with that damage. That 99 machine looking pretty good. But this time by for our race leader, Casey Bietti, we will see cross flags here halfway down, halfway home in tonight's race number 5 of the BG Graphix late model stocks. Further on back, we see the 21 machine of Lowe trying to work over Larry Murphy. Same with David Lomaga in that 28 machine. These guys side by side, Murphy up on top, Lomaga down low. As it looks like at the moment, Larry Murphy just in kind of ride mode. As we take a look at our battle for second, Stephen Rockford right on the back bumper here of Brandon Guerin. We're going to go jump on the back GoPro here of the number 4 machine and look back at the rest of the field behind him and see how close these late model stocks are to each other here tonight. As Rockford right on the back bumper. I mean, you can only see his nose just down the straightaway. Everywhere else, that thing covered by the back tail bumper of the number 4 machine of Brandon Guerin. As it doesn't get much closer than that here, folks, as we get 20 laps to go, this time by at the start finish line. We look a little bit further back at some pack racing here. The 21 machine clearing the path. Now 3 wide down the backstretch. Jeff Barefoot in the middle. Raposa up top. Larry Murphy down low. They somehow make it work. 3 wide racing action out of short track. You don't see that too often, folks. As everyone able to get around cleanly, now we head to that battle for second. Out in front, Casey Bietti has set sail. He says, see you guys next week. He's out there with a comfortable lead as the battle for second, though, far from over. As Rockford continues to try and work over Brandon Guerin. He's hoping for some sort of mistake from the 4. And I'm sure Rockford being extra careful on the back bumper of that 4. We saw these two make contact in heat race number 1, and I'm sure neither of these drivers forgot that. As still these guys right on top of each other. As most of the field's spread on out here at the moment. Jason Wiley up into 7th, Ty Delphia at 6th, Rob Lowe back into 8th, Larry Murphy 9th, David Lomaga 10th, Jeff Barefoot, heat race number 1 winner 11th, Eli Raposa in 12th, and Scott Rockford out of tonight's race. As we all get a battle now for the second position, Stephen Rockford to the inside of the number 4 machine. They go side by side down the front stretch here, folks. As now they get to the back stretch here, Rockford still has Guerin hanging on that right rear quarter panel. Now Barker tries to make the move on the number 4 machine. Barker sideways though. This could open up the door for Guerin. Guerin needs a good run off at turn number 2 here, and he doesn't get it. Now Barker and Guerin side by side down the backstretch for P number 3. Looks like Johnny Barker not quite clear. He keeps on struggling off at turn number 4. You see him sawing on that wheel inside that car. He's trying to make it work. Now Jake Grout trying to get on through. Oh, Guerin, a piece of the wall. That will definitely open up the door for the 49 machine. Grout up into 4th. As now Stephen Rockford has a 2-second gap to the race leader of Bietti. Bietti this time by. We'll see 2 open palms from the flagman. 10 laps to go here in tonight's race. We look a little bit further back and we got some battling going on for the 6th position. We got Wiley down low, Delphia up top. This is just outside of the top 5. Like I said, in P number 6, and they're actually catching Brandon Guerin ever so slightly, especially if they get themselves sorted out. They could maybe try and get to the top 5, as now the 21 machine has entered in this battle as well. Wiley tries to get on the loud pedal there very aggressively, gets big time sideways. This opens up the door for the 21 machine, and they'll try and go 3 wide as contact down the backstretch. That could have almost been very bad, as the 21 knows it's the closing stages. He's trying to make some moves to get back up to the front, as now he looks to the inside of this 99 machine for that 6th position. Also Larry Murphy trying to get on through this field. Murphy now up into 7th. As they go side by side here for these positions on the speedway. Oh, Lowe gets big time tight. That shoots the 99 up into the wall. Big time hit for Delphia. I'm sure he's not going to be happy with that, as this time the field will see 5 laps to go this time by. As Larry Murphy gets in the back of the 21 machine, further on back, 1 car goes around. That's the 13 machine of Jason Wiley. He will be parked on the backstretch here, and that will bring us to the yellow flag here with under 5 laps to go, as Wiley tries to get that thing righted on the speedway. As we try and take a look here, see what happened between the 13 and the 99. As they dive down into turns number 1 and 2, Delphia trying to make that inside line work. Wiley just trying to run in, just ever so slight contact to that left rear, and Wiley gets a piece of those barrels once again off at turn number 2, and Lomaga comes in with the RKO hit and definitely knocks that car out of whack. I would expect to see all of them down pit road. 1 car not wanting to see that yellow, that being our race leader, Casey Bietti, out there in front, but now loses all that ground. We'll see what he has for short run speed here with under 5 laps to go, as we are under our 5th yellow flag here tonight at the South Boston Motor Speedway. As I believe we get ready to rock and roll here. Not quite 1 to go just yet. I believe we get the 2 to go here, but the top 5 looking like the following. Casey Bietti will be leading us to green. Stephen Rockford up into 2nd. Johnny Barker in 3rd. Jake Grout 4th. And Brandon Guerin rounding out the top 5 for this 5th restart here tonight for the BG Graphix Late Model Stock Series for race number 5 of their 10-week season. Of course, next week, be sure to tune in as these drivers head down south to the Florida Keys area, but the other side of Florida, that being New Smyrna Motor Speedway. Then they got 5 Flags, Myrtle Beach, Southern National, and then ending at the Richmond Raceway, as these drivers get ready to rock and roll. Looks like single file restart inside of 10 laps to go. As maybe not, they will extend the restart here, and we'll do it. Get these drivers another lap here as once again the lights go out on the iRacing pace truck. Like I said, single file, so Bietti out in front. Rockford, this is his chance. We'll see what the 66 car can do here at the end of this one. These guys did battle with each other in a different series, so they definitely know each other's names, and I was one of the drivers doing battle with them. Bietti very quick, so we'll see what they can do. As off of turn number 4, Bietti jumps on the loud pedal up top. We go green flag racing it once again here at South Boston. Bietti gets the restart he needed. Now Johnny Barker under fire from Jake Grout. Grout up into the top 3 as Barker falls to 4th. As this time by at the start finish line, we will see 3 laps to go for this field. Rockford's driving the wheels off that 66 machine, trying to figure out anything, but Bietti pulling away a 10th a lap again here out in front. Battle here between the 99 and 13. Popsicle sticks up in the air for this field here as Delphia heads back in the top 10 here towards the end of this one, but off of turn number 4, the beat up and tattered duct tape 45 machine. We'll see the white flag here. 1 more lap to go. That thing on the back says to the front, and that is what he did tonight. Casey Bietti, quick time, and now off of turn number 4. First appearance this season, first win. Casey Bietti will park that 45 machine down in victory lane and pick up the win with a great run. Bietti, definitely the car to beat here tonight. Stephen Rockford will finish in P number 2, and Jake Grout will round out the top 3 as we take a look at Bietti. Pulls that thing down on the front stretch, and I'm sure he'll be excited to burn it on down here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network for all the fans tuning on in. As Casey Bietti tries to get that thing all sorted out where he wants, and it looks like he will pull it down right at the start-finish line and park it there. So we'll be right back on the other side with the interview from the top 3. Don't go anywhere, folks. As we head now to the post race and talking to our 3rd place finisher, that being the 49 machine of Jake Grout. Jake, do you got a copy of Breath of Jet here in the booth?
Yeah, I do.
Alrighty, Jake. So coming into tonight, you had your work cut out for you, but you end up pulling that thing out up into the podium positions. You end with 3rd. Tell us a little bit about your race and how that 49 machine felt for you.
Yeah, the car, it was a little tight all race, and on lap 1, we had some unfortunate circumstances where I got turned head on to the inside wall. So I really just had to drive it back up to the front, and without the caution, I wasn't going to have P3. But I was able to just see the top of Casey's car and get a good restart and drive this thing out.
Yeah, that you did. You had an awesome restart. And like you said, Jake, a little bit of attrition for you here tonight involved in that lap 1 incident, but able to rebound back. I mean, that took some skill to drive through the field. I mean, what was the key with passing here tonight for you?
I felt like it was just setting up the race cars. I mean, go on the top end and just hopefully you can get a good cut off the corner without getting too tight.
Yeah, that's the key. South Boston, as you know, you just ran a very tight track, and this place very technical. We saw a lot of incidents tonight with people going for the same line. Did it seem like everyone was given just enough room and nothing more?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like there was no room to spare, and if you could get to the top, it'd almost be where you'd want to pass, because you had more room up there, but it's just you couldn't get out there.
Yeah, that definitely seemed the case. And Jake, I know last week, not the result you wanted from Thompson. Before, you showed some pretty good results, but tonight you, of course, rebound with the podium. That's got to feel pretty good for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a good sign after Oxford and Thompson. I kind of gave up hope, but this definitely regains it.
Yeah, that definitely does. Definitely builds up the confidence for next week at New Smyrna. How do you feel about that place?
I haven't actually turned any laps in the late model, but I'm pretty good there, so I'm kind of excited for it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a plow box, but
Yeah, these things seem like they're always on rails. A lot of traction, it seems like. And it should be interesting to see what lane dominates there. Will it be the high side or inside line? But, Jake, before we let you go and celebrate this podium position, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and let you thank who you got to thank and let these viewers know a little bit more about yourself.
yeah, I gotta thank you, obviously you for broadcasting it, Rob for hosting it, AW Clark, uh, Builders, JNS Sales and Service, White's Heating, Justin Brooks Designs for making this awesome paint scheme, Arcam Setup Shop and Ryan Kuhn over there for everything he does for me, and Casey Beatty for all the help he gives me.
Yeah, Casey's a good teammate. I know I was teammates with him at a different series, and he is definitely quick, and we'll be speaking with him for in a little bit. So, Jake, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and hopefully you can keep up this momentum. Congrats on the third.
Yep, you too, thanks.
Alrighty, folks, now we head down to our runner-up finisher. That being a man we talked to every race so far this season. It is Steven Rockford. Steven, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Hey, Brett. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's definitely a common occurrence, Steven. I was just introducing yourself with, we talk to you every time. I mean, you got to be getting pretty comfortable up here, and definitely you should have your interviews nailed by now. You got a lot of them.
yeah. Every week it seems like I'm talking to you. This week was a little bit harder. South Boston's a tough track. It's pretty narrow.
Yeah, that it is. We saw a lot of cars, entering almost the same line, and that was a lot of the cautions it seemed like tonight. I mean, tell us, it seemed like some very close, hard racing. I mean, you and Brandon Guerin, heat race and feature, it seemed like you guys had inches between each other during those battles.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got into him in the heat race. I don't try to race people that hard in where I'm going to get into them and ruin their race. So I do apologize for that. That's not what I'm trying to do. And in the race, yeah, I got up to his rear bumper and was like, oh, here we go again. So it's like deja vu.
Yeah, no, I said even in the broadcast, I'm like, I bet neither of you guys forgot about that one. And I know you were probably being extra careful on the pass. And I know Guerin probably didn't want you to get around him there.
Yeah, he was running an interesting line. He was taking it wide so he'd get a good run off. And so it made me not really want to send it too wide because I knew that I had the 6 car behind me of Johnny Barker. So I was just trying to hold my line, wait for him to mess up. He kept getting a little bit slower rolling the bottom. So eventually he just got slow enough where I was like, well, I'm going to just try to send it in there, and got in on his inside, and that was about the last move I think I made of the race.
Yeah, that was. And actually, Steven, while I have you here in the booth, I'm hearing some waves and whatnot. I believe you got the Riptide Radio $5 random credit from qualifying third here tonight. So that's pretty cool as well. We got them up on screen. So that's another thing you're walking away with here tonight.
Yeah, I got to thank those guys. Riptide Radio comes out and they just give that little extra to a random person every week. Just kind of helps people come back and just, have that much more fun and make it like that much more worth it to somebody to come out, and even if they're having a bad night, or in this case a decent night. And Out of the Woodcrafts, feels like I've been sneaking away with that just about every week, and appreciate those guys for sponsoring this race or this series, and BG Graphix, and the Sim Racing podcast as well. Those guys are they help run the series, and we appreciate all of them.
Yes, Steven, and yeah, you walk away with the Out of the Wood Crafts biggest mover of tonight's race. You're up from 8th position, so even though you don't park it down in victory lane, you're walking out of here with a decent chunk and change by the end of this one.
Yeah, it seems like it's paying off to run this series for me.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's definitely awesome. I know you wanted that one spot better. Do you think you had anything for that 45 machine with that last restart?
Ooh, I don't think so. Casey's a pretty good iRacer. He's a pretty good racer in real life too, honestly. It's really tough to hang with the likes of Casey or anybody else on his team. So I'm happy with second. Maybe one day I'll get up to that rating of driver, but for now, second's all right. I think it's still a pretty good point night.
I was going to say, we had some great battles. It seemed like it didn't happen too much on track, but the points battle for that Rookie of the Year and that other series between us three was definitely a barn burner coming down to that last race. And Steven, that definitely was a lot of fun there. And showing up here, both of you tonight, just gave me flashbacks on it. It said, oh man, we got to keep an eye on those two out in front.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've raced together, and I'm sure it won't be the last.
Yep, I think so. So, Steven, you got very good at these interviews. Once again, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank on the 66 machine.
Yeah, like I said earlier in the interview, just got to thank Out of the Wood Crafts, Riptide Radio, BG, Graphix, the Sim Racing podcast. Those guys they just help out the league and make it possible to have people like you around broadcasting and just make the league fun. I also got to thank just the Vermont race team, all the guys over there, just help practicing all week for this kind of stuff, and got to thank Delphia's dogs down in Waterbury.
Alrighty, awesome stuff, Steven. I'm sure if this trend continues, you're our points leader out there with a healthy lead and talking to me every race. Hopefully we keep that stretch up as next week we head down to New Smyrna. So, Steven, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week.
Hey, hopefully.
Alrighty, folks, that was our runner-up finisher, Steven Rockford, in the number 66 machine. Now we head down to victory lane with the 45 duct tape machine. It is Casey Bietti. Casey, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, man. Now we get to have a little chat, a little different, you know. Now we're up here in the booth talking to you down in victory lane. Casey, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Definitely happy I don't see your back bumper tonight, so.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't give you racing pointers because I was up here calling the race. But, Casey, tell us a little bit about your car and your race tonight. That thing seemed like it was on rails. I mean, hopefully you took some pointers that maybe I helped with, but I know that our RKM sponsor on the car definitely helps a lot as well.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Ryan's definitely the big reason this thing is as fast as it is and helps me as a driver week in and week out. And no, I knew once we got to the lead that it was kind of put the thing in cruise control, ride, save tires, and kind of just manage there, praying we didn't get a late race restart. And we did, and I think I saved a little more than Steven there and was able to still not be as tight and roll the center a lot faster.
Yeah, it seemed like that thing was on rails, and even that last restart, you know, inside of 5 laps to go, you got Steven Rockford, our points leader, behind you. But even then, it seemed like that thing was still hooked up, still pulling away in that final restart. I mean, you had to be stressing a little bit once you saw that late race yellow come on out.
Yeah, no, definitely. Once Steven got clear of the, I think it was the 6 car or 4 car or something, I knew he was probably saving up through the field, just trying to pick him off. So I was hoping we didn't get a caution, and obviously, I guess I saved a little more tire than he did than on that restart and was able to just pull away there.
Yeah, that you did. And Casey, I got a good chuckle out of your car here tonight. It seems like thrown together last minute with some duct tape and whatnot.
Oh yeah, no, Jake Grau, he let me know probably 5 hours before the race, so we had to throw the body on. We had the body all torn off the thing and throw some duct tape on it, make sure she didn't fall off. And duct tape numbers. Hey, I guess we saved weight on the vinyl. We didn't have no vinyl on it, so we were able to save weight.
Yep, didn't have to worry about roughing up the wrap or save some weight, like you said, on it, and that thing looked very fast. You definitely show here tonight that you don't need a beautiful looking car for it to be fast.
Oh no, definitely no. This our cam setup shop, Dale Shaw Race Cars, was an absolute rocket ship tonight, and I definitely think we proved that here.
And that you did. Casey, first night with us here this season. You park it down in Victory Lane. You think you might be showing up to a few more of these before it's all over? Next week we head to New Smyrna.
Oh, New Smyrna is definitely one of my favorite tracks. So I know Grout was telling me there's like 5 races or so left. So I might be back for all 5, trying to go 5 for 5.
There you go, Casey. That would be very impressive because they got some good incentives here. The biggest mover handing out some cash money. Of course, the random qualifier as well. And, you could be eligible for both of those, especially with this invert here tonight. I mean, what'd you think about the inverts? One in heat race and then the feature event. That definitely had to be pretty wild. And especially that heat race number 1, that thing was definitely a wild one to say the least as well.
Oh, no, heat race number 1 was definitely a wild one. Lucky enough, we had that fast repair in the pits and were able to come back out and finish 4th in the heat. I definitely think it makes it a better show. Fast guys don't start up front, so gives the fans something to watch.
And now, Casey, I know a little bit about you and with talking with you and racing with you, kind of being your teammate at one point, but why don't you tell the fans tuning in here on Turn 3 Racing Network, what are you up to if it's not on the sim? I know you got some real life stuff going on, hopefully some big things this season.
We're running full time at White Mountain Motorsports Park in an ACT late model, and we're gonna play on the American Canadian Tour up in New England and stuff. It's definitely a blast. I know we have one really good piece this year, so hopefully be able to click off some wins and hopefully bring back a track championship at White Mountain.
That would be awesome, Casey. You definitely have to keep me in the loop, and we'll definitely be rooting for you here on the Turn 3 Racing Network side of things. So, Casey, before we let you go and continue partying down in Victory Lane, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank on this 45 crew.
Huge shout out to Ryan Kuhn and RKM Motorsports. He's definitely helped me a lot on the sim and getting faster week in and week out. I know I've turned a lot of laps with him on the sim, trying to get better. Huge shout out to Dale Shaw Race Cars, Creative Counters, Burke Lawn, Kirby Mulch, Alliance Excavating Consulting. Huge shout out to Turn 3 Network, and obviously you, Brett. I definitely learned some stuff in the super late model in Upstate League with you, and it definitely carried it over to this. So huge shout out to you, and huge shout out to League guys for putting this on.
Alrighty, Casey. Like I said, we've always had some great conversations in the past. Now get to have one up here in the booth and down in Victory Lane. So, Casey, you have yourself a great rest of the night, and I hope to see you some more on track for this series.
Yes, sir, Brett. Have a good night.
You too. That was our race winner, Casey B. Eddy, getting the job done here tonight at South Boston for race number 5 of the BG Graphix here. And we'll head back now down live and get the post-race all wrapped up. So running through tonight's finishing results, Casey B. Eddy in the number 45 machine parks it down in Victory Lane. He goes 1 for 1. Stephen Rockford once again on the podium. We've talked to him 5 times. We'll see if it's 6 by next week. Jake Rout in the 49 machine will round out the top 3. Johnny Barker in the 6th and 4th. Brandon Guerin in 5th. Rob Lowell finishes 6th. 7th going to Larry Murphy. David Lomaga will finish 8th. 9th going to Jeff Barefoot. Teldelfia will round out the top 10. 11th going to Jason Wiley. 12th is Eli Raposa. And 13th is Scott Rockford. Of course, tonight, Stephen Rockford picking up the Out of the Woods Crafts Biggest Mover and the Riptide Radio Award. Of course, those being the 2 sponsors of the series, the others being the Sim Racing Podcast, bringing you tonight's post-race that we've been talking to all race long, and of course, the big title sponsor, BG Graphix. I've been Brett the J in the booth from Turn 3 Racing Network. Be sure to tune in to Turn 3 throughout the week, as we got a lot of great action-packed series and races. Be sure to tune in next Thursday to catch the action here at New Smyrna down there in the Florida area. Everyone take care. Have a good week, and we will catch you next Thursday. I've been Brett the Jet, and I just flew by you.